Hello and good morning, everyone. It is a lovely morning here in Michigan, and today starts the very beginning of a super exciting process that I'm going to be sharing with you. It's going to be taking a long time that probably won't even grow any real feet until probably next springtime, but who knows? We'll see. This is a video that I want your comments. If you have experience in this area, I want to learn more and more, but I want to share a little bit about what I'm doing and how I'm going to be setting up our home garden. So first things first, this is the template that we're working with. The backyard is pretty big. It's just under, I think, 1.5 acres. I've got a gate over here on the side. This is the back. We got a nice big deck. And then as we come into the backyard, it opens up. We do have a drain field and septic here, so I'm not planning on doing anything there just in case we ever have to, get into that. Obviously, we don't want to have to anticipate that, but tearing up all the garden stuff would be pretty terrible if we had to. So to start off, I think it's worth mentioning what is kind of my inspiration for all this. What am I trying to do? What do I hope to do with these things? And that's pretty simple. This is not going to be something that I'm using for market gardening or anything like that. This is purely just almost like a homestead garden. Where I live, we can have certain types of animals, but not a lot. We want to build our way up to that. But the first thing I want to do is actually start to establish where I want to have some beds. I'm greatly inspired and interested in permaculture. The idea of a food forest is not necessarily something that I want. I want to be able to really have control over my yields, but I want to use some of their principles like sheet mulching and things like that with wood chips and compost. We're going to be generating our own compost here. It's just a really exciting process. So let me give you some ideas of what I'm thinking for layout. This will be kind of hard to visualize like this, and I'll probably put up something on the screen that is a vertical kind of sketch up of what I'm thinking. But pretty much over here on the left side of the lawn, these little tree bush areas are going to eventually get cleared out. Kind of found out the hard way the last couple weeks that there's some poison ivy in there and that I'm really allergic, so we're going to get rid of that. But pretty much over in that corner there's a pear tree and an apple tree over there. Near the area we're going to have kind of 2 bays for composting, so that's going to be mostly wood chip and lawn based to get some really rich compost going from there, and also house and garden scraps in there. As we move kind of across the lawn, we are going to eventually, we're not going to do all this at once, but eventually have some boxed beds up there, raised up. We'll be using kind of a style that is to create a really rich soil in there. So ideally you'd use something like galvanized steel or something like that to really be resistant. I've done the research in terms of treated wood and whether there's a leaching issue there now that they don't use arsenic since like the late 70s in that process. That's not something I'm concerned about necessarily, and cedar will break down over time, but it's something I'm considering. Would love your feedback in the comment section below. Next to that will be our actual beds that we have on the ground. I'm planning on starting fairly small. I really want to master this. A lot of the advice that I get from other farmers on YouTube and other social media things seem to think that that's the right solution, and I am totally agreeing. But we'll probably start with 2 beds with a look to expand as we go. This is something that we want to do very long term. So we've got a great lawn right now. The fertile part of our lawn is fairly shallow, so let's talk about my next kind of steps here. In terms of what I'm planning on, pretty much right over here in the corner is I'm going to be building my compost areas. I've actually found out about some cool things. We do have a local, he makes vermicompost and also organic compost. I'm actually going to be going over to see that guy tomorrow. I'll see if I can film some of it or not. He apparently is a filmmaker himself, so hopefully he's okay with that. But We're gonna get a couple yards of compost to get started and have that ready to prep our beds. I also found out about chip drop. Haven't received it yet. If any of you have experience with chip drop, I heard a guy mention it on YouTube, and so I looked it up. And apparently it is, you know, arborists or different companies that have, or people that, you know, take down trees and whatnot, and they'll generate all these wood chips, and you can kind of just raise your hand and offer a donation, or just do it totally for free to, you know, volunteer to take that. Now, the difference is you will get between 20 and 4 yards of wood chips, which for some people, depending on their property, that might be a lot. So you don't get a choice. You can ask for a preference of what type of wood, or especially if you don't want a certain type, like, hey, I don't want walnut, or hey, I don't want pine, or something like that. You can do that, but you don't get a choice in how much you get, and you also don't get to schedule it. It just shows up and you have to specify where you want it. So I'll leave a link to that in the description below, just in case you're interested in checking that out. Hopefully it works out. If not, our local kind of municipality has like a public wood chip pile that you can go get some wood chips as you shovel in there. But our lawn, as you can see, is pretty dense. It's mostly crabgrass, like kind of crummy grass. But what my kind of approach so far, and you guys tell me if this is right or wrong, is I'm gonna be removing, at least for the beds, the portion of the grass. Probably get that covered up, and then you know, for the next few months do that. Then once we get most of those weeds gone, or if I do actually want to cut up the grass and then compost the grass, we're gonna put down some cardboard, a couple layers of that. We're gonna put our organic compost on top of that, and then we're gonna put our wood chips on top of that. So that is the sheet mulching method that we're gonna be doing to build up the ground, mostly for next spring. As you guys know, we have a baby coming here this fall, so I don't know exactly how much time our first child I'm gonna have or feel comfortable giving, I suppose. So we might not get winter beds in or anything like that, especially as our first time going around here. So again, would love the advice. Let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, that's that. So today, after I get done working, it's before I go to work right now, this is also worth mentioning, I have like an off the farm job, things like that if you're new to the channel here, but I'm going to be getting some pallets and get going on making those compost piles, and then starting to source all my wood chips and compost and things like that to get going on the beds, and eventually the box raised beds and things like that. So this is where I'm starting. Hopefully some people find this that are experienced in this area, or if you have some experience gardening on a homestead style, let me know in the comment section below. I'd really love to know. I'm learning. I've done a ton of research up to this point, but I'm always open to the collective intelligence that is all of you. So thank you very much. This is going to be an awesome journey. There's a ton of other stuff. We're renovating our house too. If you're interested in that, subscribe. You know, bring other people in who might be knowledgeable in this area. We'd love to learn. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you in the next video.